Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in a prior video we took a look at the TLR-8 and TLR-7 Sub in a discussion about Streamlight customer service. Here in my hands I have a number of little parts. These are the replacement parts for the conversion from the SIG proprietary rail adapter to a 1913 rail. At this point, I did get these lights specifically for my SIG P365, but I do need to change out at least the TLR-8 Sub. Reason being, well, it's going to go on my Canik Mete SFT, which has a 1913 rail. So I need to change out all the parts to get it from the SIG proprietary mount to the 1913 mount. And that's what today's video is all about. And so again, very straightforward and a very simple and quick video to demonstrate this. We're going to flip the camera around and get a look. And so the first thing is, well, how do I obtain these parts in the first place? Well, it was actually very simple. If you send an email to service@streamlight.com, in the main subject, just put parts request, and in the body, tell them what you need. And in my case, I told them that I had a TLR-8 Sub where I was going to change from the SIG proprietary mount to the 1913 rail. And they sent out the appropriate parts. You simply give them your shipping address and, well, here you go. So very simple. And now I have everything I need to make out the swap. Now, what did they exactly send me? Well, here again, you can see they did send all the different parts. So these are the jaws. So we have what's called the static jaw and the moving jaw. So basically, one of them is literally the moving jaw. So one of them moves and the other one stays put. 2 stainless steel screws, what they call the wave spring, and then the jaw screw or the clamp screw. The appropriate key, which this one is the number 3, and swapping out the original, so the one that came on this for the SIG was the number 2, but this one here now being the number 3. 2 very, very small little C-clips. And I guess technically those are E-clips because this here is your E-clip tool. So here a little removal and installation tool for those clips. And something else worth mentioning. If you saw my original video covering my service experience with Streamlight, they did a great job. All in all, a great job, with just the subtle exception being they unfortunately only sent me 1 adapter versus 2 for the TLR-7 or TLR-8 Sub. Now, they on their own identified that they had forgotten the second version, and they have since sent it. So again, they reached out to me, they told me they apologized, they were keeping an eye on things, and realized that they made the mistake. So they are literally directly on top of everything. So again, when I say a 10 out of 10 experience with their customer service, I absolutely meant it, and this is just another example of why. So this should be pretty straightforward and not take a huge amount of effort. So the first thing we're going to do actually, and again, I'm working on my TLR-8 Sub. I'm going to tighten down on the screw here. And we have to get to the point where we're able to get on the clip itself. So as I tighten this down, it actually exposes and buys me the space I need on this side of the clip. So I'm not going to crank it too hard, but I'm just going tight enough here just with a penny to again expose it on this side. And right away I can see I definitely tighten this too much. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you have just a couple of threads showing here. When you take a look at the tool, you'll notice that there's a remove side and an insert side. And so now with the E-clip facing down, you'll see basically facing this direction. I'm going to take the remove side of the tool facing down. This is not that easy on this particular version, but if you work at it just a little bit, it looks like it wants to go. And so for me, I found that the removal tool just simply wasn't going to cut it, and not on this SIG version because of how deep this is. So I literally just got a very small flathead screwdriver, got in the groove and dragged it out of there. Made a tiny little mark on my mount here, but not a big deal. So at least at this point, I can start to back all of this off. So now backing all of this off. Most of this is stuff that I could reuse. Of course, I have all the new parts, so I'm in pretty good shape here. Backing this all the way out and removing all the little pieces. We'll slide those off to the side. The key now coming out. And as you take a look, I will need to remove this jaw as well. So that's the static jaw, which from what I can tell needs about a 3/32 Allen key. So here you'll see as I get on this here, seemingly fitting about right. Now, I don't know if this TLR-8 did come with one of these. I can't recall. It may have, but as I'm taking a look here, the elevation and windage screws are definitely smaller. But anyway, this does seem to work just fine, and it doesn't seem to cause any problem or no real concerns about these stripping, but at least I do have 2 additional screws if I need them. So at this point, this does seem to work just fine getting this off, and that removes, again, the static jaw. So not too big of a deal. You're just going to need maybe a couple of tools here, but that will do it. Now, in terms of getting everything back into place, this should not be an issue swapping out the static jaw. At this point, I'm literally just going to leverage the exact same screws. So these little bolts here going back, very easy. I'm actually going to save some of this hardware and set it aside, put it in my parts kit. So I'm reusing the old stuff for now, which I think would just be fine. Again, does not seem to have any problems with it whatsoever. No fear that anything's going to strip, and I'm just taking my time, not overly tightening, but enough for this need. So far, very simple. Now grabbing the number 3 key. That just slides right into place, and you'll see that's the part that's going to index right in the 1913 rail. So again, that number 3 key there, simple. Now on this side, we have the moving jaw. So the moving jaw should go right into place here, which it does. And then I can take the screw with the wave spring, get that in, and that should go right through the moving jaw. I will need to thread it into place, but again, very simple. And I just need to get it to the point where it exposes the side of the threads where I can actually get that E-clip back on. I'm going to grab a new E-clip because the old one, and I'm not going to say really got bent, but maybe just a little bit, and just try to get this into place. Now this should be easier going on than the other one was getting off, because you'll notice how much room I have on the relief here. And just getting this and sliding it hopefully doesn't pop off and go flying. There you go. So actually very simple going back on, and that's about it. So this at this point should be ready to go with the 1913 adapter. And so now the moment of truth. Let's see what happens. So this, for me, I do want to index it about as far back as I possibly can. And it looks to be, it doesn't go all the way back, but this goes maybe second to back, which is probably a good thing, actually, as we look at it here. Looks like it should sit about the right distance. Now, I was hoping it would sit just a little bit tighter, but this looks pretty good. So I think this is going to do what I need it to. Just tightening up on it here. Quick little check. Everything seems fine. Nice and tight and sturdy. That's not going anywhere. I have since actually locked the light out and back on now. There we go. So now, Mechanic Mete SFT. Ready to go with the TLR-8 Sub. So again, swapping everything out for the 1913 adapter, pretty straightforward. And so all in all, not very difficult. About the only thing that was at all time consuming and just a little bit tricky was getting that E-clip off on the static side. But other than that, going fairly well, all things considered. So at this point, you can see my Canik Mete SFT ready to go. This is actually now more appropriate for home defense, which is awesome. Having the light, having the laser, and this thing is ready to rock and roll. So again, to the people at Streamlight, thank you very much for providing these for review, for the customer service, and for the parts I needed to keep me going. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless channel, which is more on my primary gear. On that channel, I cover everything from hiking, camping, and backpacking excursions, all the gear that goes with it. So from sleep systems, shelter systems, knives, axes, backpacks, flashlights, you name it, that's my Outer Limitless YouTube channel. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.